time for March Madness.
In December.
And not with sports ball.
With cartoons.
With the decade coming to a close, we wanted to decide once and for all, what's the best cartoon to come out of the last 10 years?
We've narrowed down the final contenders and placed them into brackets so that you can choose. At least, I think that's what's happening. I have no idea how basketball brackets work.
Yeah, I think honestly this is going to be easier. You're just going to click the link to our survey and vote for your favorite cartoons. We'll go from there. I'm Chris Carr.
And I'm Winnie Van Lanningham, and these are the best cartoons of the last decade. Disney Conference! Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the day, Charles Sheed. Thanks to heroes like this BAMF, we're able to keep the lights on at NerdWire another day. If you wanted to help donate to us, click on the link in the description box below and see if any of our donation tiers work for you. Now on to the Disney Conference!
Yay! Over the last decade, Disney has covered a crazy amount of ground with their animated series. For the early aughts, Disney's serialized animation was defined by shows like The Replacements, American Dragon Jake Long, and the massive hit Phineas and Ferb. The end of the decade also saw the merging of the action-adventure block Jetix and Toon Disney into Disney XD, where it would feature Disney's massive acquired catalog with shows ranging from Bakugan to Batman the Animated Series to Pinky and the Brain.
Amidst these entertainment staples, the 2010s brought a freshman class of cartoons hoping to become classics. This early batch included Fish Hooks, Gravity Falls, and Kick Buttowski. Disney also started feeling out the start of Avengers mania in the animated space with Ultimate Spider-Man and the briefly lived Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was replaced with 2013's Avengers Assemble that fell more in line with the MCU.
Hulk also happened to get his own show with Agents of Smash, as did the Guardians of the Galaxy with their 2015 animated series.
Around this time, a second wave of Disney animated originals began to air, including Wander Over Yonder, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and Star Wars Rebels.
After this, Disney took a page out of their 80s and 90s playbook and started to spin some of their more successful features into animated series.
2017 saw the addition of Rapunzel's animated series and was soon joined by Big Hero 6, the series, as well as a reboot of Ducktales.
As the decade comes to the close, now Disney has a threatening lineup of newer shows like Big City Greens, Star Wars Resistance, Milo Murphy's Law, and Amphibia. This lineup looks to only get stronger in the next year, with promising additions such as The Owl House, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and Disney Plus fare such as Marvel's What If and the Monsters, Inc. series, Monsters at Work.
But there can only be 8 contenders for our tournament. So who made the cut? Well, it's time to find out and decide who deserves to be Disney's #1 show of the decade.
Starting off match 1, we have the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Marvel comic book heroes such as Iron Man, Ant-Man, and Thor join forces to become the Avengers. This elite team takes on a slew of villains, 75 to be precise, who've escaped containment from the Vault, the Cube, the Big House, and the Raft, in what is one of the best animated iterations of the Avengers that has ever aired. The series criminally only got 2 seasons.
Going up against the Avengers, Ultimate Spider-Man. Peter Parker is a teen trying to juggle the growing pains that come with high school, as well as a newfound mutation that's made him into a superhero. Pete is invited to train with S.H.I.E.L.D., where he meets other teen supes like White Tiger, Power Man, Iron Fist, and Nova, who all hope to become ultimate superheroes.
All right, so with Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, we have a really fantastic show that gives us what we've all actually always wanted. Wolverine with the Avengers, just like in the comics. Why can't we have this in the MCU? So we finally get it here. We get Cap thawed out of the ice. We get them looking for Hulk. It is so good. But there's something about Spidey.
Listen, man, it is never a bad time when the Avengers assemble, but I gotta say, we both stand Peter Parker so hard. I love Spider-Man. I'm always gonna vote Spider-Man if there's a contest, because there's really no contest when it comes to Ultimate Spider-Man, in my opinion. Love how funny it is. Love that he's doing a lot of fourth wall breaks in that kind of Deadpool-y sort of way. And my boy Drake Bell voices Spider-Man in this one. So if you're as big of a fan of Drake and Josh as I am, hold on to your panties.
Yeah, I gotta go with Ultimate.
You locking that in?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the match 1 winner with 66.5% of the votes is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah! Spider-Man, winning stuff because he can.
Oh no!
No, Spidey!
Well, he stuck to the wall pretty well.
Nice.
He's a web clinger.
He's a web
clinger and slinger.
A slinger and a clinger.
Part of his powers, Brett. God, are you even a real fake geek boy?
Are you like a real Spider-Man?
Ugh.
Have you even read a single comic book?
Yeah.
Starting off match 2, we have Star Wars Rebels. Imperial forces are ruling with an iron fist. But one clever crew, those on board the Starship Ghost, take a stand against the Empire and try to ignite a rebellion.
And up against Star Wars Rebels is Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls follows twins Dipper and Mabel Pines as they're sent to spend the summer with their great uncle, or Grunkle, Stan, in the weird and wacky town of Gravity Falls. GF sort of has a Twin Peaks for kids vibe to it.
I'm a huge Star Wars Rebels fan, man. Back when I used to host a Star Wars podcast, that was like all we ever talked about, all we ever watched. It is such a great show if you are a fan of like the original trilogy and the prequels, because it takes place right before A New Hope starts, right after Revenge of the Sith ends. So some of the great things about it, Darth Maul comes back.
Yeah.
There's Ahsoka comes back, and her and Anakin's storyline kind of wrap up a little bit
That
better.
amazing lightsaber fight, which is so
Lightsaber
cool.
battle, which is so good. Yeah. Oh man, that's a kick-ass battle for sure. And then we get to see all these new characters. Like Ezra is just an incredible Star Wars character. So great. And I really like the little universe that they've built.
Absolutely, I love Sabine in the show as well. This is kind of an apples and oranges matchup.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Gravity Falls, though, you do have this mystery and wonder that you do have in Rebels as well, just in a very different way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have this amazing story with Bill Cipher and all the mysteries of their town and everything with their grunkles, the big reveal there, the amazing voice cast, getting J.K. Simmons in the mix, which is so good. But I think the big difference between the two of these and why I lean Gravity Falls is Gravity Falls asks questions and Rebels fills in gaps. And I'm more interested in all these questions.
Well, hey, look at you, smarty pants, having like a good answer.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Sometimes I do my job.
I like Gravity Falls because Grunkle Stan is a pug dealer in one episode, and he just has a big old barrel of pugs, so I like that part.
I mean, that seems very inhumane. But
Whatever.
There's no space pugs.
There's no space pugs, unfortunately. I mean, there's porgs, and now with the Mandalorian, a baby Yoda, but that doesn't happen.
It's
at
all the
in
connected
Rebels.
universe.
Yeah, just the same
just like
thing.
how it connects to Rick and Morty. Through
Oh,
portal
yeah.
guns, everyone gets a pug in
Yeah.
all of these shows.
Exactly.
That's mostly how Whitney voted.
That is how I voted.
Yeah,
I
just
was
if
just
it-
like
if a
pugs,
show had a
pugs,
pug.
pugs, pugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
see that.
you guys locking in Gravity Falls?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So, the match 2 winner with 86.3% of the votes is Gravity Falls.
Yay!
Oh hells yeah! Oh
like-
man,
I
we're
like
like
super
2 for 2
We're
right
getting
now.
We're good. We should start gambling.
We should totally start gambling.
We
Why
should
don't we have
use-
money on this?
Use our meager YouTuber salaries to gamble.
Oh
Well,
my
if you
God.
guys if you guys want, who do you think's gonna win the whole guy?
Who's gonna take the whole guy? Ducktales.
Yeah?
Ducktales is gonna win.
No, I say Star versus the Forces of Evil is gonna win, but that's because I have a dream. I have a dream.
Technically, Rapunzel has a dream. She sings a whole song about it.
That's very true. Way down deep
Bum, bum, bum,
inside.
bum, bum.
Well, that's next.
Yay!
Alrighty then. Match 3 kicks off with Star versus the Forces of Evil. Magical Princess Star Butterfly is gifted a royal magic wand on her 14th birthday and quickly makes it apparent to her parents that she is not ready for the responsibility that comes with it. So, they send her to a place without any magic, Earth, hoping that she'll grow up a little. She moves in with the Diaz family, and she and fellow teen Marco Diaz will take on the dangers of villains and high school together.
Also in match 3 is Tangled. In Rapunzel's Tangled adventure, originally titled Tangled the Series, we're reunited with Rapunzel as she tries to learn more about herself and the world around her so she can be the best princess possible. We have the old crew back, as well as newcomer Cassandra, who acts as muscle and a confidant for Blondie at the start of the series. But things definitely take a turn with her. Look, I'm gonna go for Star, and I know you are already, but I gotta defend Tangled still,
Yeah.
though. All right, because I loved the movie. I got so excited to have this have its own show. We get this brand new character, Cassandra, who's this confidant, but then like joins with this moonstone, so we get more crazy magical elements. And I always like when we have characters in a show too who aren't clearly villains or clearly good guys, and it becomes this really, really tangled relationship for her.
Did you do that on purpose?
I tried. And I just think it's so great to have all the original cast come back and everything too. It's so nice to hear all the same voices, because it's always really weird when you watch
it's so
the show
bizarre.
version,
Yeah.
right? Like you watch like Trolls on DreamWorks and you're like, that's not Anna Kendrick.
No, thank you.
But you
That's
hear
not.
Mandy Moore.
Actual Mandy
She getting
Moore.
that VO money.
Dude, she's getting that Tangled money, and like we just
Yeah.
gotta say, Go away, Ryan Adams.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. I am proud of you, Mandy Moore. Get that Tangled. I love Tangled. It's like one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, but you know how much I love Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Exactly.
So that's my big vote. She's a magical fairy princess from an alien planet. She has the best magical girl transformation secrets, wow, that we've seen since Sailor Moon. And she and Marco Diaz are probably the cutest shipped couple in Disneydom, pretty much.
And you get good old Sean Hunter thrown in the mix.
Oh, you sure do.
Yeah.
You sure do. Yeah,
coming back as that love interest, love rival.
And it's such a great show that not only incorporates like magical elements and cool battles and fighting monsters, but in the end it's ultimately like about having really solid and really good friendships. So I like it for those reasons.
Exactly. It's got a really, really great heart at its core. It's so fun and weird though, and such a departure for Disney that as much as I love Tangled and I love Mandy Moore, I gotta go Star, right?
Me too. Yeah.
It's just a show about you. I'm gonna pick it.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Yeah.
Laser bugs.
So the match 3 winner with 81.6% of the votes is Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Away! First up in match 4 is Ducktales. Don't call it a comeback. This reboot of the late 80s animated series of the same name sees Huey, Dewey, and Louie meeting their Uncle Scrooge for the first time as Donald Duck, their other uncle and caregiver, struggles to take care of the 3 rambunctious boys. The triplets move in with their trillionaire uncle, learn of family secrets, and discover more about Scrooge's mysterious past.
And up against Ducktales, we have Wander Over Yonder. This 2013 show definitely felt like a departure for Disney. After all, it came from Cartoon Network hitmaker Craig McCracken, who had given them shows like The Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. In Wander Over Yonder, Wander is an eternally optimistic intergalactic traveler who loves helping others.
Oh, match 4. Match 4 with my guys.
Aw, man.
Yes.
You're gonna go with the DuckTales on this one, I can
Life
tell.
is like a hurricane, Whitney.
It sure is,
gosh.
man.
Okay, so not only do we capitalize on the nostalgia of this great show that we grew up with, which is fantastic, we get little bits of other things from the 90s too, like we get them singing Stand Out together from a Goofy movie, which is so great. But then we are making this more mysterious kind of story with Scrooge. We get a backstory finally on Della Duck, the boy's mom, who we really don't know anything about from the comics or anything before. And now we have this really interesting, fleshed out, strong female character who is flawed and empowered and who's been living on the moon. It's bananas. It's so good. And I know Wander, he's a traveler too. He's gone to the moon.
Oh yeah,
but
he has.
He doesn't do it for me like Scrooge does.
That's okay, man. I'm gonna fight for my guy, because A, he's voiced by Jack McBrayer, who I'm obsessed with and is always hilarious, and B, the best way that I've ever heard this show described is that it's a cartoons cartoon, and that like it's such a quintessential adventure where like he's an interdimensional space traveler and he has this best friend named Sylvia who's a horse, and his enemy is the evil Lord Hater, who like is a terrible, terrible supervillain. It's definitely that kind of like LOL, like random kind of humor where it's super silly. At times, Wander can be like a little annoying even to people on the show, but ultimately super, super funny stuff. And the best character of all is Lord Dominator, who's played by Noelle Wells, and she has just totally redefined female supervillains in like the Disney genre, because she is such a badass. She is so cool, and it's such an interesting and fresh take on a lady villain. I like it. I like it a lot.
I still gotta go with my Ducks.
I don't know, you do. I'm gonna go Wander.
The match 4 winner with 73.6% of views, so by a lot,
Wow.
is DuckTales.
Yes! We will.
Yay!
Into it.
Thanks, Internet, for making me feel correct.
The internet rules.
You guys ready for the semifinals?
Yeah,
Yes!
we are. Semifinals.
Semifinals.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have Ultimate Spider-Man versus Gravity Falls. Whew!
That's a hard one.
That is a Sophie's choice because we have our favorite hero of all
boy
time.
Peter. I
our
love
Petey
him.
Parky.
I never want to betray him.
Yeah. But Gravity
Falls is so funny. It's so funny.
When you're thinking about a Disney cartoon though too, do you feel like a Marvel property, even though they are owned by Disney, do you feel like that is quintessential Disney, especially over the last 10 years? Because for me, it doesn't feel like that. I feel like it's its own thing. And
No,
I feel like
it's
Gravity Falls
its
is
own
more
thing
Disney
too.
Channel.
No, that totally makes sense. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
And Gravity Falls to me also is kind of like in the same vein as Star, where yes, it's like classic awesome Disney, but it kind of turns it on its head from what we have been seeing from them previous to this past decade. Because this decade, like with Disney for me, is all about like getting the weird kids involved more and making it about characters who aren't as traditional as normal Disney Channel shows.
Absolutely.
So I love Gravity Falls. I think I'm gonna vote that one.
I know.
Because I already have my Marvel fix somewhere else, and this is unique.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Pete.
I'm sorry, Pete. We love you.
Yeah. We're locking in GF.
Doing it.
The semifinals winner with total out of all 4 of the first half of the board.
Uh-huh.
They received 75.9% of the votes. And of course, we're talking about Gravity Falls here.
Yes!
Yes! Awesome, awesome. I love it so much.
Oh, way to go, Dipper.
Way to go, buddy.
Oh, I'm gonna fight you.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna fight you so hard on this one.
But I love Star. It's Star. Laser pugs.
But this incredible voice cast, led by my husband, David Tennant,
I know.
it's so good. It's so well done.
that.
It's got a through line that's fantastic. There's new mysteries to solve constantly. Did you see that D23 poster of how many other things are gonna get involved in this show?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I keep just losing my goddamn mind over everything they're doing. I love it. And sure, it's very confusing hearing David Tennant voice this crotchety old duck, but
The heart wants what the heart wants,
yeah,
man.
I mean, it's better than when I was like, Kilgrave's okay, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, at least
definitely.
this guy's nice to his family and has money.
What
My mother
more could
should
you
be so
ask
lucky.
for? Your mother should be so lucky for you
Yeah.
to marry Scrooge McDuck.
A
And listen,
nice
man,
Scottish man.
I know how cool it would be to dive into a swimming pool full of gold coins,
Yeah.
but I gotta go with portal scissors every dang time. I wanna go to different planets. I wanna go to a planet that's just a giant mosh pit. That sounds awesome.
They go to space. They time travel.
That's fine, but they don't get to do all of like the cool magic wand stuff that Star gets to do. Do they have magic wands?
No, they have real science.
I don't care. I want magic wands. Harry Potter over Charles Darwin any day. This show had some of the greatest character arcs, the greatest villains of all time, and the greatest side characters. All right, let's start from the top. Toffee. One of the scariest and best villains I have ever
I will give you that.
experienced in my entire life. And that battle, the final battle between Star versus Toffee, when she has the magical girl transformation sequence into her Muberty form, is one of like the coolest pieces of animation I've seen in a very long time. It is just, it's an amazing scene and it's an amazing battle. And what's more is that show is basically like a huge allegory for like how to not discriminate against other people. And instead of using stuff like actual racism as an example, they use monsters versus humans and humans versus humans and monsters, and how all these different alien space races kind of do discriminate against one another, and how Star kind of brings all those people back together and makes it a more cohesive and inclusive space.
But it didn't have a very conclusive ending.
Whatever, I
conclusive
know, I
ending.
know the ending
This
sucked.
one's still going on.
get
It's still
it.
rocking and rolling. That D23 poster lets us all know that the best is yet to come with this show.
That's very true. I
And
hated
David
that-
Tennant.
I hated that Star ended. I hate it.
David Tennant so much.
I know you do. I really, I know. I know you do. What's up? Who's the score? Star!
Ducktales.
You're not, no one's breaking ranks on this one?
No!
Oh, of course not.
The semifinals 2 winner, and the person that's going to be the happiest, with 51.9% of the total votes on the right half of the board, is Whitney.
No!
Star versus the forces of evil.
Yeah.
Internet?
Yeah.
You're wrong?
Yeah.
You suspect?
Get it.
You done me dirty.
Get it.
You done David Tennant dirty.
Get it.
A Ducktales boo-boo.
Woohoo. Aw.
All right, it's down to the finals. We have Dipper versus Star, Gravity Falls versus Star versus the forces of evil. And y'all know I'm still gonna go with Star. How about you?
Gravity Falls. Dipper all the way, baby.
Why?
This show was fantastic.
I know
This
it
show
is.
was so wonderful with its Twin Peaks vibe, with its whole story of being weird and like it's okay to be weird and not specially gifted in any way. Just being a weird kid like Mabel who like didn't get along with people all the time just back home. She thrived in this weird little town and she thrived being herself. And the story concluded so satisfyingly.
That's
the
very
ending
true.
of this one was fantastic. Can we say the same for Star?
Not necessarily. I appreciated the ending, but didn't love it. I feel like Star, though, is a better show overall, even though Gravity Falls definitely wrapped up a lot nicer and a lot better. I think that Star is just as much an underdog weirdo hero as these guys are because, okay, on her first day of having a wand, she burns down like half of Muni. Like she lights the castle on fire. She is so bad at stuff. I love that we got to see a princess who actually feels like more of a gremlin like me.
Yeah.
And I really see myself in that character and I see her like learning and changing and growing and I don't know, man. I just love the magic in Star so much.
Yeah.
And although I love the weird in Gravity Falls, I gotta go Star, man. I gotta stand my girl.
Yeah, I like seeing normal people in extraordinary circumstances and seeing how they come out on top.
That
and with
is
that
very
X-Files
cool.
vibe, I gotta go Gravity Falls.
X-Files is
And-
great, I admit.
You already brought it up too, Wit. These two shows were so different for Disney, so it's so interesting that these
so
are the
cool
finalists.
that these are both the finalists.
Yeah.
And also honestly, like these are kind of my top 2 shows of the entire bracket. If I'm being real with y'all.
It'd be my top 3 if no one else was there.
You had Ducktales.
But these are amazing shows,
No, those
and
are both great
it
shows.
really shows how far the channel has come in the past 10 years.
Hell
It's
yeah.
crazy.
I love it.
Brett, what do we
Brett,
get?
What's the final score?
The winner with 55.2% of all the votes
That's close.
out of
too.
everyone. The second place only received 18.4% of the votes.
Whoa.
So the winner with over half the votes is Gravity Falls.
Yes! Dipper ascends! Yes!
All right.
Get it, homie?
I love Star, but I gotta congratulate you on your victory.
Well, thank you.
I love Gravity Falls too, and
Yeah.
honestly, they're both shows about weirdos, and I can get behind that all the way any day.
That's true. If any channel's gonna support 2 weirdos making it to the finals, it's gonna be this one with these 2 weirdos.
Oh yeah, I was really surprised actually though that those were like the top 2 contenders of the whole shebang.
I was so confident in Ducktales.
Oh man.
I was so, my hubris. My hubris for the poultry.
I'm sorry, Car. You gotta start betting with your brain and instead of with your heart.
Yeah. My deep-seated attraction to David
Deep-seated
Tennant.
attraction to David Tennant that supersedes even a duck animated form.
Thank you so much to everyone who voted. Be sure you vote again. Next week we are doing the Cartoon Network conference. So follow the link and click there to vote for your favorite cartoons.
And as always, please make sure that you hit that little bell for notifications for Nerdwire. Like and subscribe, and we will see you at the Cartoon Network conference.
Yeah.